I just wanted to make sure that you listeners are listening to the Drapedomaniac podcast on doayamedia.com. You are, right?
Peace, family, and welcome to this edition of the Drapedomaniac podcast. This is Ayapo Yapa, the HDIC, that is the head Drapedomaniac in charge. And I'm here with my beautiful wife, Angela.
Hello.
And we're here to have conversations on how to get off this plantation. Now, what we're going to discuss today is what everyone else is discussing, which is the conviction of Derek Chauvin. He was found guilty on all counts. Everybody's talking about it. And I guess on this show will be no exception. But to
follow
me,
the crowd.
really,
follow the crowd, baby.
Yeah, it's not even following the crowd. It's just so. Hopefully, we'll have a little different spin than everybody else, because I didn't feel celebratory about it at all. I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever. As a matter of fact, at the time of the trial, or during not the trial itself, but during the time of the reading of the conviction and so on, the verdict, it's like there have been more shootings. It's like the shootings have picked up, and so it just shows nothing changes. Since 2005, there have been 7 police officers convicted out of 15,000 shootings. So nothing has changed. This changes absolutely nothing. So anyway, what do you think?
I think in general, I was just joking when I say go along with the crowd, but I think in general, I'm kind of out. I'm not in, but, in terms of, I'm not invested. I'm trying to find, I had actually, one of my friends, messaged me on WhatsApp, and she was like, something to the effect of, oh, I'm so grateful that, prayers and thanks for the conviction or something. Mm-hmm. And this is what I wrote to her, and then I shared it on one of my little family groups. I said, I'm so divested from U.S. stuff and more. Sad for Mr. Floyd's known and unknown / closely related and unrelated family, community, and Africans all over the world, most of whom are unknown to most of us, who have and do suffer torture and other forms of violence at the knees of an evil system and its agents. I pray for comfort, clarity, strength, and freedom for us. I pray for our comfort, clarity, strength, and freedom. I don't see any justice here. Periodically, the system works, in quotes, this way to release steam / pressure so it can remain intact. My husband always says that. I agree 100%. I don't see a win. I hope that and that part I'm not going to say. I just said this. Mm-hmm. I said this part. I am going to say it, but I said this part because I kind of feel like, even though I don't consider myself to be a negative person, I consider myself to be a very upbeat and positive person. Mm-hmm. But I feel like on some subjects, I guess I'm just like a buzzkill. Like when people are like, oh, hallelujah, praise the Lord, I'm so happy. And I just feel like I try really not to say anything because I don't want to. And so I said, I hope that I am wrong, and that after hundreds of years of virtual repetition and the same stuff, this time is different and is the beginning of real change. I don't really think that it's, the beginning of real change. I don't give a F about chauvinist pig being convicted or not being convicted. I feel empathy for the human beings, that are dealing with, the trauma of this. But, I feel like all of that, it means nothing to me. And we had talked about this before the trial, because the video went worldwide, and there were protests all over the world. And so we had already had conversation and said, well, this is a good, they have to sacrifice somebody periodically. So this is a good person to sacrifice because it's gone all over the world. And then they can say, the U.S. can say to the world, see, our justice system does work.
Right. He was low-hanging fruit.
He was low-hanging fruit. When someone does something wrong, they do get convicted. Which I just feel like is BS, insincere, But like, I'm just like, I'm not interested. I don't, whatever.
Right. Well, my casino analogy that I'm in love with, you know, it's all the games in the casino are rigged. All of them. One is set up so that every now and again it'll pay off, so that it pays off and it's loud and everyone hears the bells and the whistles and they look at it and they're like, see, it paid off for them. It can pay off for me. So you just keep dropping your money in. And the whole thing is designed to keep you invested in the system, to keep you trusting the system that at some point it will work. And as we often say, when it comes to in terms of energy, or when we speak in terms of energy, they need our energy to feed off of. Mm-hmm. And if we divest from this system, then that pulls their energy, that pulls their resources. Mm-hmm. It starts pulling from them. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was very important what you said to me a long time ago about when our people. I was having a discussion with you about why they see us trying to lead as violence. As if you're trying to leave somebody, then by definition, you're not doing anything to them. You're trying to get away from them. And when you embellish that, you said, look, when people, if I'm on somebody's back and I'm benefiting from being on their back, and I'm getting something from being on their back, and it's feeding me, it's empowering me to be on somebody's back, just them trying to get me off their back is an act of violence to the person who's on your back, who's
using you.
Right. They consider that an act of violence.
Or even as Gandhi said, and I know everybody ain't a fan, but I thought this particular concept has been so compelling to me. It's like, it's hard for somebody to stand on your back if you're standing up. I mean, for somebody to be on your back if you're standing up straight. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I don't even think the focus is on getting somebody off your back. It's just, straightening, being in alignment with who you are, mm-hmm. being in your true human alignment.
Right.
So.
Well, you have it look like you're about to read something.
No, I was trying to write something down because so many different thoughts come while you're talking. Mm-hmm. And so, but were you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
So then just to loop back to, there was, I think it might have been LeBron James or some, famous person had tweeted something. And I think he tweeted, after the conviction or whatever, he tweeted, so-and-so, you're next. And it was some cop who had killed somebody or something. But it's sort of like, I guess the vibration that I'm trying to explore is this idea that, when we're invested in the system, we think, now, it's kind of like if you use a water pump, like if you go out to the country and you're pumping and pumping and pumping, mm-hmm. and it takes a minute for the pump to get primed and for the water to start pumping. Right. But then once it gets primed, it's like, okay, it's working. We got water. We cooking with gas now.
Right.
And so I think that, that tweet to me kind of felt like, well, the pump is primed now, justice is turned on, right. and we're going after this cop and this cop and this cop, and be forewarned, your reign of terror is over.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wish I could believe that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I don't even slightly believe that on the periphery in any way whatsoever.
It doesn't fit the profile. It's not consistent with any information that we have.
Exactly. And the better thing to me is I suggest to our people that we start watching more of on YouTube if they're even allowed to still be on there. But like things like Tony Brown's Journal and a different
throwback,
throwback black shows from like 20 and 30 years ago.
And furthermore, start reading the work of black folks from 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
But what's my purpose for doing that?
Because it's the same conversation.
It's the same freaking conversation. You could literally just turn the screen off and just listen to what they're saying, and the conversation is always the same, relevant. My point is, just like I'm always saying to you, it doesn't take you 400 years to do anything. I was getting ready to say shit. It doesn't take you 400 years to do anything. And it doesn't take 40 years to do anything that you really want to do. It barely takes 4 minutes to skip. It doesn't take, depending on what you ate, but
30 seconds.
It doesn't take 40 years to get anything done. And we see that with all kinds of legislation or whatever, or social changes or whatever that benefit white people or that they really want. It gets changed like that. Mm-hmm. So why in the heck are we still running around here, 30, 40 years later, still having the same conversation? Mm-hmm. And I told you about that clip I watched of Malcolm X after that shooting. And the police at that time were saying that they fired on these unarmed black people. They fired on them and killed them, because they were in fear for their life. Mm-hmm. And that just struck me. This was back in the 50s, 60s. Excuse me again. And they said, because we were in fear for our lives. I was like, these are some, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, people.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing, and it does not change. Yeah. And, they're always talking about, the system's on trial. This is a historic verdict. Get the heck out of here. The system is always on trial. Mm-hmm. And every verdict is historic. It's like, get the F out of here. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to change anything, and nothing changes.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
That's all I had to say about that. I agree.
Oh.
In terms of justice issues and my ire being up and me being upset, I do have something, but it's not anything related to this. I don't really have that much to say about this. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, there are two more things I want to say. Mm-hmm. So during the course of, this spectacle, this show, this entertainment that was the trial of Chauvinist Pig or whatever, there was at one moment I started watching it and I found myself getting drawn in, and then I got really, really annoyed because I feel like part of the way that this system works from my perspective is that you get drawn into the fine details of stuff and into all of these rules and you lose the big picture.
The minutia of it. And I feel like I come from a
holistic people, a holistic tradition, and this society is about breaking things down, separating things. Oh, well, this individual incident over there is different from that individual incident. And this is not racism. This is just and so you lose the gestalt. You lose the, and so, I don't want to be drawn into making my mind work in that way. I don't want to get drawn into letting my energy be focused on, the minutia and some BS. Because I guess it might have been an Australian paper or something said the guy who, I should have kept it, but not really because I don't care that deeply. But the guy who killed somebody, got caught killing somebody on camera, got convicted for killing that person or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of it's so, why am I having a whole, 18-year discussion about something that's obvious?
Right.
But I felt myself getting drawn in, and then I was let me get up and leave because I don't want to participate in that. I'm not interested, and it kind of pissed me off. And then so I didn't really watch much of the trial, because I just feel like it's some bull. Mm-hmm. And I feel like their whole system is some bull. Their legal system, their educational system, their housing system, their political system, they just full of skit. They the head hustlers in charge. They're hustlers, they're scammers. Right. I don't trust them. I don't believe them. But, and then when the conviction was happening, you had said to me, oh, well, the jury, I was in the kitchen and you were like, oh, the jury is supposed to be back and like, you know, or the jury, the decision has been made, but they're going to read the results in, you know, a half hour or something like that. And so I was doing something else, but I noticed that I was kind of like watching like the time and like right around the time when I thought that the conviction was going to be announced, I called, you know, I had some stuff to talk about with my family, but I called, you know, I WhatsApped, you know, the family group because I'm like, oh, we'll all hear the conviction together or, you know, whatever. And so like, I feel like I did get drawn back into the spectacle, which, yeah, I'm not, like you were saying on the court TV, they had like, it looked like a boxing match, like Chauvin, the way they, like it makes it, and I feel like it's so disrespectful. Their whole system is disrespectful, but like when I focus on any part for too long, it's just really offensive. Right.
Well, that's part of where my whole thing about separating from the system comes from, because I got drawn into it too, not to where I was like watching it every day or hanging on my seat or on the edge of my seat or anything like that, but I would watch, and frankly, my curiosity was if there was like a not guilty verdict on any or all counts, it would just been interesting to me to try to figure out how in the world did they finagle that. But that was about that's about the extent of it. But ultimately, this system, when we were brought into it, when our ancestors were brought into it in chains, and the Constitution was written, the Bill of Rights, everything, when all this was created,
kicking and screaming with guns to our heads and lives,
when our people were kidnapped and brought here, from the jump, none of this was made for us. I don't know if you've ever had an appliance or something else that was built to do something very specific, and then someone tried to retrofit it and finagle it so that it would work another way for something. Say that you had a car that ran on diesel, and then you somehow finagle it and change parts on it so that it now runs on just regular fuel, right? It'll never run right. You might you may be able to get it to move or whatever, but it'll never run like it was supposed to, the way it was designed.
Yeah.
This system can't be fixed. It can't be retrofitted. It can't be redeemed. It can't be, for our people, it just can't be.
Right.
Because it wasn't made for us, number one.
Right.
Number two, by the nature of the system, it can't free us or make us the equal, because that would crash the system.
Right.
Because it runs on us being at the bottom of it. So, everything that they do that ever tries to make it seem like we're making some headway or there's a chance of it is all smoke and mirrors. And I'll say this, and then you can take the floor, is, like I said the other day, and we've had the conversation many times before, even if, for the sake of argument, tomorrow, black people were equal, black people in this country got reparations or whatever, and were made whole financially, and we were at the same, at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is, you kidnapped my people and brutalized them and stole my identity. That's what this whole thing is built on, and that's the foundation of it. You can't fix that. If I kidnap you, we've had the discussion before, if I kidnap you and I put you in a mansion and have people waiting on you, and you're even free to come and go as you please or whatever, what you would say to me is, you freaking kidnapped me. That's all that matters to me. And nothing fixes that. So that's, Yeah. You have the floor.
I mean, I don't really... the only thing I was going to say is, no, I've never tried to retrofit anything. Mm-hmm. But I remember, my second husband works, like with housing, reconstruction, building and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time he was scraping off like some linoleum or some flooring or whatever using a shovel. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up getting a tool that was specifically designed for scraping floors. And it was just like, the comment was like how effective it was, like at doing the job, because it was designed to do the job. Mm-hmm. And I found that to be like kind of an interesting idea. And I feel like, I don't think this system has never been retrofitted. So that is not so much relevant to me. Right. But I feel like this system runs the way it's supposed to run. It does the job it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
So, it works like that floor scraper. It'd be scraping the hell out the floor. Right. It does it very efficiently and effectively. So, yeah.
I guess I'll just say this. I'll say this to people that are always saying, because I hear a lot of, like, our people who are saying, well, white people need to do this and they need to give us reparations and blah, blah. And my overarching question is always, why would they do that?
Yeah.
So we're going to close up right here. As we had already discussed, we didn't want to put too much time into this, not because it's not an important subject, but just because we don't really want to be like so invested in this particular thing, at least the way that they want us invested in it. So I'm going to just close up by saying thank you for listening to this Drapetomaniac podcast. This is Ayapo Yapa, the HDIC, that is the head Drapetomaniac in charge. I'm with my beautiful wife,
Angela.
Wishing you peace and blessings, sanity, safety, and security through separation. And until next week at the same time, we will see you on the run.
Peace. And thank you again for listening to the Drapetomaniac podcast. Tune in next week at doiamedia.com. DOIAMEDIA.com. And again, we'll catch you on the run. Peace.